Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. This week, Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer unpacks South Africa's Synfuels know-how, Transnet's manganese production train, and Morila mine's agribusiness conversion. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Sashni.
Now, Global Alliance Power Fuels believes that South Africa could be a leading site for large-scale production of liquid fuels from renewable energy.
It's amazing. South Africa is very well positioned at the moment for climate change demands. You know, we're sitting there with closeness to the fuel cell because we've had platinum that can catalyze that, create electricity from the fuel cell that's clean. It can drive cars, it can power homes, and it can even keep freezing places warm. So then we've also got a lot of sun energy, superior sun energy. We've got superior wind energy, as it turns out. So that is a heck of a good position to be in this climate change scenario. But also, we've got a history in technologies. So, you know, we've got a long history in Fischer-Tropsch technology. Now that should be the preserve of the Germans, surely, with a name like that. But it was invented by the Germans, but perfected by the South Africans. And you know, this global body is now acknowledging that. And it's saying that South Africa could be a demonstration area for some of these things, because what they're thinking of now is that you produce fuel from renewable energy. Now that is a spectacular thing. So you get the renewable energy and you, through the electrolysis process, you get hydrogen out of the water. And people might say, oh, we haven't got a lot of water. We've got water that goes to waste in vast quantities that could be used. So you can get the hydrogen out of the water. When you get the hydrogen out of the water, that's clean hydrogen, because you've used renewable wind power, sun power. So you get that hydrogen, you can then use it in a fuel cell, okay, which we've been thinking of all the time, which is great energy, which the Japanese are already powering homes with that. People are powering cars with that, and it's clean. It's part of this thing. But then they take it a step further, and they say then you can apply Fischer-Tropsch technology to the hydrogen. So instead of applying, like we've done for the last 70 years, Fischer-Tropsch technology to coal, and we get petrol and diesel and chemicals, you can apply that Fischer-Tropsch technology to the hydrogen. And they've come up with a new term, and get yourself power fuels. Now what are those power fuels? Again, petrol, diesel, kerosene, chemicals. It puts us in a magnificent position. The only thing is the cost. What is this going to cost? You know, can it compete? Well, of course, when things start, they're always quite expensive. We've noted that, you know, the fuel cell situation has got a cost challenge. So we have to come down these challenges. But what about Europe? What has it been saying? 14% of its transport fuel must come from renewable sources by 2030. So everybody thought biofuels. You know, okay, we'll grow the plants and then we'll create these fuels. It's not good for South Africa to do something like that. You don't want arable land going on non-food production. It's a risk. We then could say, wow, as the world is also saying now, no, you could use the renewable energy to create these power fuels through the Fischer-Tropsch. You could create these power fuels. And people say, oh, they're twice as costly as the biofuels, going up to 4 times the cost of the biofuels. Oh, non-starter. But if you've got very superior sun, prime wind, that can take you down the cost curve. And they're really saying that it could be on a par with biofuels. So it's amazing the situation that South Africa is in. It needs to really focus its mind and start working on this, because it can do quite a lot for the country if they really project into, say, now power fuels as well.
And Transnet has successfully tested the world's longest manganese production train.
I'm very happy about this because, you know, manganese has always been the ugly stepsister. And, you know, I used to live at King's Beach for a while in Port Elizabeth, and we used to see that manganese port, and even in those days it never looked too good. And the rail down to it now has been a problem for some time. They need to make it more efficient. And it's fantastic that Transnet is now looking at like 375 wagons that they can test. They're also looking towards Saldanha, which they hadn't looked for manganese in the past. We know that the new mineral resources minister, Gwedi Mantashe, when he was down in Perth at the Down Under conference, he mentioned that they've got to upgrade the rail for manganese, and they would look perhaps to a direct line to Saldanha, or otherwise they're going to use existing rail but far more efficiently, because it's a crying shame that we've got these manganese resources, and what saves us is that the quality is so high. So if the logistics is not that hard, we can still be competitive because of the premiums we earn. But what a bad way to go. The state should be making sure we're right on top. And it looks like that new mood is coming. We see that they can even go to longer trains. I mean, we've had iron ore trains, 382 wagons. This is 375 wagons, which is a successful test run. We know that the Australians in Western Australia, I think they've had 682 wagons. And so there are a lot of benchmarks around the place, and you need that length of train because it cuts your cost. It makes it more economical. Like, the Transnet was saying, that people were calling for more capacity, but that was going to cost an arm and a leg. What they used is not new capacity, new technology. Power distribution technologies. You can put more wagons on. The world knows about that. And once this fourth industrial revolution goes on, you'll get more and more, and your costs drop. With the length of train, if you can do that. So we saw a very bad performance by Transnet from the last 6 months of last year. I think there were 6 derailings. I think 2 of them were manganese, and 4 were iron ore. There's no excuse. That's really, I think that people said it's suboptimal. It's scandalous. I mean, to have, and then they don't even announce the derailings. You only find out about it because some public company reports it. That should not be allowed. I mean, the moment there's one derailing, we should know about it big time, because it affects our foreign exchange. You need the trains going down there efficiently for us to earn that foreign exchange. If we don't earn it, the rand starts weakening. It's a big problem. So I'm very pleased they're starting to take this very seriously now, and they've had this 375 wagon manganese train.
And lastly, Randgold Resources' Morila Gold Mines agribusiness project has been approved in Mali.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, in the mid-90s, I used to go down to Selby, and Randgold Resources was talking about this mine they're going to build, and we've seen Mali, and we started calling it Morila, and then people said, no, this is so big, this is Morila the gorilla, and they started drilling around the mine because they felt that this would have a lot of gold there, but it didn't have as much gold as was originally thought. But look at the solution now coming up. They're going to close the mine in 2 years, but they want to set this up as an exemplary agro-industrial hub. Now, a wonderful leadership from a mining company, like Randgold Resources. Now, we need that repeated all over, that when you're moving out of mining, which has a finite horizon, you must leave a legacy which has an infinite horizon, like agriculture. And this is a good example. Not only will you have agriculture in there, but you'll make it a modern agricultural hub, because as I was saying, so much of the agricultural product goes to waste because you don't have the processing facilities. And this could be a great example that people go and look at and say, well, we must repeat this. We know that Sibanye-Stillwater is doing wonderful things out on the West Rand. They want to bring that back as an agricultural area, because in 20, 30 years, the mines will be really largely depleted, and you want that infinite horizon to take over. And agriculture is fantastic to do that, and there's a lot of water on the West Rand, because that was an agricultural area before the mines got hold of it and mucked it up. So at least they're going to try and restore it, and I think that should be the thinking, sustainability of all these mining companies now. They must be thinking long, and what is going to happen as the closure takes place. Can they get models around the world, and we see this Malian model now, an excellent one.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the local and global mining industries.